But there is one more that I want to take a look at here. Because we never really looked at those Game Gear games. And in a way, you know, if you just have Gems Collection, then you don't get all the Game Gear games, especially in America, where we never actually got Sonic Mega Collection Plus on there. You had to have a PS2, Xbox, or GameCube just to play those. Unless you count Sonic Adventure Deluxe, which actually comes with all the Game Gear games on there. So if we jump to the menus, we can check out some of the Game Gear games that are there. But to do that, you have to... Every 20 emblems gives you one Game Gear game, and all these games are missing from the Steam version, which I think is kind of crap. I think here, if you hold the left shoulder button and then tap the right shoulder button. Oh right, the original PC version of Sonic Adventure DX has these Game Gear games too. And I kind of regret not buying it, but oh well. And we don't get the Master System versions of these games, but I don't know. Like, it's hard to kind of recommend these over the Master System ones because, especially for Sonic 2, you could definitely use that extra screen space. At least you're not dealing with a giant, blurry handheld. Right, and also in the mission mode for Sonic Adventure DX, you get 3 of them if you complete all the missions in mission mode. I never really played these Game Gear games from start to finish because they were kind of hard, a little too hard if you ask me. But it is kind of a shame that we don't really have these highlighted in any other in any other real way for Sonic. Uh-oh. They're obviously not the same games. And yeah, Master Toronto in the chat mentions that you can get Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and Sonic Chaos, the Master System versions on the Wii Virtual Console. Although not on Wii U Virtual Console, but that thing's kind of a joke anyway. Also, this game's really weird in how the collision works, and... Okay, that is it. The emeralds are just sitting there in some levels. And that's how you get all the emeralds in Sonic the Hedgehog for Game Gear. Not really any special stage to play. Alright. Oh! Hey, that was pretty good, huh? Uh-oh, that wasn't... I will give credits. These sounds? Pretty good for a Game Gear to make this kind of noise. Even though the other Game Gear games don't do that. Wonder if we can at least get to Bridge Zone before we move on to the next game here. Oh, there are no rings in boss stages though, so hopefully I'm paying attention here. That was the other thing of like why I didn't really like playing the Game Gear games. At least Sonic 1 and 2, they don't have rings when you fight the bosses. And they're basically one-hit kills at that point. Also, we have to at least give a good listen to Bridge Zone. Tails Adventure. And I died. Tails Adventure is my favorite Game Gear game. It obviously doesn't play like a Sonic game, but I felt that was more rewarding to, like, just explore levels and find all the hidden items. And you got to play as Tails, solely. Oh yeah, there's some mad slowdown in this game, but not much you can do about that. There's a checkpoint. Oh no! I gotta not do that. Or that. Well, we at least got to Bridge Zone. Well, let's at least chop one more bit here. Okay, there we go. That's the trick. Haha, nice try. The screen real estate really does not help you here. Also, another emerald that's just sitting there. And I can't get through this for some reason. I can do this. I will give credit. These Game Gear games are still definitely worth going back and playing. Also, bonus stage. That was a continue. You get continues by busting these open. There's one weird... Well, there's two things that are kind of... Well, one thing is unique about the Game Gear emulator on Sonic Adventure DX, and one that's kind of a bummer. So, you hit this button to bring up the menu to reset the game or quit. If you do this... Now I just introduced a bunch of sound lag. Whoops. That's kind of a weird thing to have happen to your emulator, and there's not really a way to fix it. Oh, I fixed it somehow. I don't know how I did that. That's probably the best outcome that can happen to the sound on this. I don't know if there's a real quick way I can show this off or not. But, let's plug in a second pad. That's not the right pad. Oops. As I precariously try to get my Hori pad. You take this guy, you plug it into the second controller port, and then hit start. Now, a second player can join in their own screen. Which is cool, but you get double audio going on here. Oh, Sonic, get up there, son! Doesn't seem particularly useful in here. But the reason that's there is so you can play two-player on the games that support it. So you can see two-player press start in the corner there. And you can link up and play a two-player game. Good old Sonic Drift. Why is he in a car? I never really... Well, I guess I heard people upset about Sonic being a cart. And I kind of have a soft spot for this game because it's just Outrun with Sonic. And somewhere there's the remix of Toot Toot Sonic Warrior. And for every 2 rings you get, you press up on the D-pad, and you get a speed boost, or you can use one of the other characters' special abilities. Like, the gimmick to playing this game is you have to hold A and B at the same time and move left to right. And when you hold A and B together, and that allows you to drift. And that lets you take these tight corners very easily. Not really going to do 2-player on here because I don't have anyone to play with, but it resets the game so that you can link up and trade your Pokemon. And for some reason, we get the Game Gear games out of order. Like, we immediately get to Sonic Chaos, which is one of the better Game Gear games. And then we get to Sonic 2 later. This is a Sonic game I especially am not good at. Because I never really played this game much back in the day. We get all this crazy artwork that's in between levels. But it's weird, why is Tails there if he's captured? Ah. And it is very, very easy to die. Now, I'm a little surprised that, well, not too surprised, I guess. But I kind of want to see, like, modern revisions of these Game Gear games, because there is some nostalgia to them, and there is some, you know, legitimately fun stuff about them. Except for the part where you can't see where anything is. What I'm doing right now is I'm trying to work my way up to the first boss game, which is hella hard, especially for a Sonic game. If you can defeat the crab boss, which is what's coming up in the Game Gear version, not Master System, but the Game Gear version, you're probably really good at games. And I think I recall the other bosses not really being any harder or anything. Come on, baby, let's get to that crab. I'm feeling it. I can do it. Unless I run out of all my lives, which is also likely to happen. Like, you can bust through there. I could have jumped up at to skip this section entirely, but then you get to this part. You're like, oh, you're gonna die. Oh no, you've been rescued. Only to die slower? The trick is, you gotta dodge those balls. Those steel... I don't know. Yeah, so that's where it gets tricky. So you have to dodge those balls, you have to not get eaten, and if you jump when you hit the claws there, you can avoid getting eaten. Come on, Sonic. So yeah, I'm completely out of practice, so this is probably a bad idea to play right now. I mean, I could pause a lot, but that's a trick to, like, every game in existence. Oh my god! That's the worst. Oh. And you know the worst part is, you're using that Game Gear D-pad? Whew! That was... Oh, that was the worst. I hit the thing. Alright, well that's Sonic 2.